Mic check!
Mic check!
In my hands!
In my hands!
I have a petition!
I have a petition!
For the firing!
For the firing!
Of Lieutenant Pike!
Of Lieutenant Pike! And it says!
The video footage we have seen!
The video footage we have seen!
Of the actions of Lieutenant Pike!
Of the actions of Lieutenant Pike!
Show him to be sadistic!
Show him to be sadistic!
And violent!
And violent!
And a violator of the assurances!
And a violator of the assurances!
That the UCD police!
That the UCD police!
Are supposed to protect!
Are supposed to protect!
He has no place on our campus!
He has no place on our campus!
His presence makes us feel threatened!
His presence makes us feel threatened!
And insecure in our place of work and education!
And insecure in our place of work and education!
We call for his immediate, permanent, and unpaid dismissal!
We call for his immediate, permanent, and unpaid dismissal!
We hope the promises you have
We hope the promises you have
made to your students, staff, and faculty,
made to your students, staff, and faculty,
as articulated in your stated policies and goals,
as articulated in your stated policies and goals,
will be respected.
will be respected.
We ask you as individuals,
We ask you as individuals
and as a collective,
and as a collective
to follow your words
to follow your words
with action.
with actions.
Come sign it.
I will.
Thank you.
Pens. Thanks, bro.
Let me ask you, can I get your name?
Zach David.
Phil. How do you spell your last name?
B-E-G-A.
One more time, man.
So, sorry, can you say it again? Perfect.
Zach, Z-A-C-K-B-E-G-A.
And are you a leader on campus, a student? Or?
I'm a student. I'm a second year.
So did you come up with this? Was this something that a group of you came up with?
This is what a culmination of people came up with. This was not me.
So you're targeting Lieutenant Pike
Exactly.
particularly because what?
Because of his actions, because of him flaunting pepper spray, spraying it down students' mouths. The unnecessary use of pepper spray is not okay. It's against the law. It wasn't needed in that situation.
You're very particular about wanting a immediate but unpaid. I mean, your concern is what happens.
Exactly.
What is your concern? What do you think? What are you concerned might happen? What do you not want? I mean, are you concerned that he's gonna just?
I'm concerned that this is gonna be swept under the rug in the 90-day investigation.
If I comment as well?
He's been said in the paper to have been an ex-Marine. He's a hero. He saved a couple of.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. And I'm not condemning him as a person. I'm condemning his actions. What he did was not right. Pepper spray is something that is used for an attacker, for when someone is attacking you. Pepper spray is not used to disperse people who are sitting peacefully protesting.
Should he be fired?
I believe so. And he'd like to comment as well.
Yeah, so I'd like to comment as well. First off, from what I've read, even in California correctional facilities, the use of pepper spray is not approved on the use of people if they are sitting. By sitting, you are defined as non-violent, and pepper spray is reserved for acts of violence. What happened here was in response to a peaceful protest, and was dramatically out of bounds for the kind of actions that the police should have used.
Should the police have done anything to disperse the crowd at that point?
That's their call. I can't make the decision as a student. I mean, certainly I think it was overstepping their boundaries. Also, the letter that the chancellor sent out explaining the police actions, I just want to point, I think that's probably the thing that angers me most, is the blatant lies she told us. The blatant lies where she said the cops felt so threatened that they couldn't escape. If you watch the video, you see Lieutenant Pike actually step over the line of people. He actually physically steps over them in order to mace them. He was not trying to escape.
She has said through her people that she would like to talk to the students today. Do you want to hear from her today?
That's a tough thing to say. I don't want to hear any more lies. I would like to actually interrogate her. I would like the students, representatives from this collective here. I'd like to have everyone who wants to ask her a chance, give her a chance, ask her questions, and hear her responses. Directed questions that can be answered with yeses or nos, not something that can be addressed with some glittering generality.
What's the question you want to ask her?
Part of it I want to ask is, what was her motivation for those letters? Was she, did she actually know what she was saying? Did she actually have information and lie about it? Or, you know, did she not have any information and just kind of made up a story to cover her own end?
Should those questions you can't answer a yes or a no with.
We can phrase them so you can, certainly.
Should she lose her job?
I think so. But again, that's to be decided by a collective, not an individual.
Do you think the police chief should lose her job?
I think her statements in support of the police are really offensive. Again, I don't have enough information to review these kind of questions. But I think these things should be addressed, and we will see. We will see where the movement takes us.
Your name on tape?
Sure. My name is Cody Ross. I'm a PhD student in evolutionary anthropology here at UCDPD.
C-O-D-Y?
C-O-D-Y-R-O-S-S.
And one more really important thing that I'd like to point out, these are the views of Cody and myself. These are not necessarily the views of the whole Occupy movement. We have propositions that are put on the table and are given a 100% consensus. These are our views, not necessarily the views of the Occupy movement.
Well, what pissed me off is I left just as everything happened.
Really?
Yeah, I was here the whole time, and then I left.
I couldn't figure it out.
Welcome! I have never felt this proud to be a UC Davis student. We're gonna open this up with a few words from our friends who were pepper sprayed and arrested on Friday. Please show them some love.
Our university! Our university!
Mic check. Mic check.
Mic check!
Yeah, that's right. My name is David Bouchot, and I attended my first protest last Tuesday in Murac Hall. It was fun. It was a great time if you guys were there. But that's not why I'm here. On Thursday night, as you guys probably know, we set up an encampment of about 25 tents right in the center of that quad. We had a kitchen, it was clean, we had garbage cans, it was easy to walk through the camp, we had study parties, there were people playing music. It was the safest, most welcoming environment I'd ever been in. And then at noon the next day, we got a letter from Chancellor Katehi saying, "This is unsafe, you have to leave by 3 o'clock. She didn't say any reason why it was unsafe. So we put our heads together and we said, if you want to leave, you can leave. And you know, five people broke down their tents and they left. And that's fair because it actually wasn't their tents and they didn't want to get their tents broken. You know, so we talked about it and we decided to stay. And my friends and I, we drew a hopscotch, an epic hopscotch down the sidewalk. And then someone ran up yelling, "Riot police." Yelling, "Riot police, riot police." And we didn't know what to do. It happened so fast. We threw all our stuff into the middle of the circle. We held hands and we started chanting because we didn't know what to do. People were walking by. They started videotaping with cameras. The cops came up. The police officer yelled something, we couldn't hear it. I'm assuming it was an order to disperse. We kept chanting. They went into the circle without any incident. They started breaking down the tents. They started pulling my friends from that circle and throwing them on the ground and putting them in handcuffs and dragging them away. No! At that point, there was no more encampment. There was no more stuff there. We were just kids sitting down in a circle singing. But the cops didn't leave. They did not leave. There were 150 people or so watching us. We yelled, "Join us, join us." And in the proudest moment of my life, those kids came to us and they sat down in that circle with us. They joined us. But it wasn't over, because the cops kept picking kids out, throwing them on the ground, and arresting them. They put them in a circle just south, right over there. And I saw my friends lying on the ground, surrounded by cops in riot gear, and I thought, this is not right. This is not okay. we're kids. We're just kids. And so me and a dozen of my friends went, and we sat just south of those cops. We sat down. Eventually, let me cut to the chase, because I'm sure there are other people that want to speak. Our police officer came to us and he said, if you guys don't move, we're going to shoot you. So we turned around. There were 2 police officers with paintball guns pointed point blank behind us. That officer probably realized that shooting us in the back would have looked bad and would have been not that effective. So, and I'm told at this point, behind us, he shook up the pepper spray and he held it up for the crowd to see. I had no idea this was going to happen. Someone yelled, "Oh my God, pepper spray," and I closed my eyes. My girlfriend, my arm was around my girlfriend and I kissed her on the cheek. My friends buried their faces into their chest, and then it happened. And then at that point I entered a world of pain. It felt like hot glass was entering my eyes. I couldn't see anything. I wanted to open my eyes, but every time I did, the pain got worse. I wanted to breathe, but I couldn't because my face was covered in pepper spray, and every time I breathed, I was nauseous. I couldn't see anything. I could feel my friends and my girlfriend writhing in pain. I wanted to cover her face, but I couldn't because my hands were covered in pepper spray. I didn't know where the police were. I didn't want to stand up because I thought I would be arrested. I was afraid. I was no longer a protester. I was an object. And that's what the police officer wanted to turn us into. But we sat there and we didn't move. I was paralyzed with fear, and that's the truth. I was paralyzed with fear. I guess what I'm trying to say here, this is what I'm trying to say. If you guys know what happened in the last 2 protests, not a single student was violent ever. Not a single student resisted arrest. Not a single one! And so I ask you guys, out of respect for me and my friends who sat there and allowed a police officer to point blank spray pepper spray into our face 3 times while we looked him into the face, do not choose the path of violence. Our best weapon is the path of violence. Their only weapon is violence. That is why we will prevail. That is why we must prevail. I want us to take back this university, brick by brick, and we will do it with dignity and respect.
My name is Nathan Brown. I'm an assistant professor in the English department. As many of you know, I wrote the open letter on Friday calling for the resignation of Chancellor Katehi. I see that Chancellor Katehi is directly left of the stage right now. So I'd like to speak to Chancellor Katehi very briefly about the rhetoric that she's been using since what happened on Friday. What we see in the Chancellor's statements are the same techniques of backpedaling and obfuscation that are used by the powers that be every time there is an act of police violence in this country. Her efforts are transparent. They are efforts to defer and displace criticism. They are efforts to defer and displace calls for her resignation. Those calls now number in the tens of thousands. administrators who order the use of force against peaceful protesters. I want to say briefly to wrap up that what will depose this authoritarian administrator is not letters or petitions. It is your direct action on this campus. That direct action must continue until the chancellor resigns. The chancellor has said that it is not appropriate for her to resign at this time. We know that the chancellor is not a very good judge of what is appropriate. I propose two demands. Moving forward. One. The immediate resignation of Chancellor Katehi. Two. All police forces ordered permanently off UC campuses. Chancellor Katehi and police forces are the primary threats to the health and safety of our university community. I love you all. Solidarity, comrades! Sit down!
Could I thank you? I am here. I am here.
You need to speak louder. Pardon me, would you mind if I made a quick announcement?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, media, could you please sit down so everyone can see, so everyone can be equally part of the General Assembly? As much as you can.
I'm here to apologize. I really feel horrible for what happened on Friday. If you think you don't want to be students in a university like we had on Friday, I'm just telling you, I don't want to be the chancellor of the university we had on Friday. Our university has to be better than it is. And it needs all of the community to come together to do that. We need to work together. And I know you may not believe anything that I'm telling you today, and you don't have to. It is my responsibility to earn your trust. I only have to say one thing. There is a plaque out there that speaks about 17th of November of 1973. And I was there, and I don't want to forget that. So I hope that I will have a better opportunity to work with you, to meet you, to get to know you. And there will be many opportunities in the next few weeks to do that.
This is an on-site
Thank
decision.
you.
Get rid of Pike. Get rid of Spacuzzi.